A little while ago, there was this whole debacle about trying to reorganize and rearrange this space, and it didn't really work out, and I kind of gave up. And since then, everything has changed. And I know this might seem like kind of the smallest part of it, but I finally have my other way facing desk. So if I want to be over here with the lighting maybe a little more fine-tuned, look, it's a thing. Let's talk about this thing. Look, it's another thing. We can talk about these things right here. I like just having another option. It's really cool. And if I don't want that or I need to move it, I can just move it very easily because this whole thing is on wheels. What? Also, if I need an XLR cable, excellent. So there's a lot more than just having a tiny table in the corner, but this was one of my goals and I was able to achieve it. And I was able to do it without adding anything new because it was Heather who finally talked to me and she was like, I don't think you should bring new stuff into your space. I think you should work with what you have. And then I spent like 3 days figuring it out and it is so much better. So we're gonna start with the desk because that's where stuff has really changed, but there are a lot of things that are kind of hard to show on camera, like redoing all of the power management and wiring and all of that kind of stuff, which makes no difference to somebody watching this or somebody looking in from the outside. But for me, it's so much more convenient and things are so much better. And essentially there are just fewer switches I have to flip to get things up and running, which actually makes like a world of difference. But right now I'm desperate to talk to you about this desk situation. So at first glance, things might not seem that different, except for the dog under the desk. Oh wait, look, it's that dog, it's the same dog. Something that never made sense to me was that this side of the desk that I don't really use that much was so much longer than this side that I use every day. But what had happened was when I used to have my drums over here, this was never really an option. And so the room hadn't been readjusted since the drums left. So basically what happened here was this desk got pushed up all the way and this one got pushed out. So now I have this entire 6-foot desk. This is still here and it's still usable, it's just taking up less space. There's only room for one shelf under it. But then down here, let me bump up this ISO because I'm so excited. There's even a spot for like my camera bag to just hang out over there. And then the other shelf went over here and just put some wheels on it and it solved all the problems that I was talking about the other day. So I have frequently used bits of audio gear in here, kind of like I had before, but now it's over there. It's a nice little workspace. It looks good in the background. And then I can also use it as a desk like I did just a few minutes ago. But again, over here, the goal is practicality. So by having this extra surface space and monitors that are safely secured to arms and a Rodecaster that's safe on an arm, I can now easily, I did this just yesterday, clear out this entire space and then use this as a backdrop for when I want to take photos and B-roll against the colored walls here. So now this is a surface for that, which is perfect. And what I was even more excited about is now once all this stuff is not here, which I know it looks like there's a lot, but it literally takes 30 seconds to clear out this whole area, then the colored paper can go down on this and it's like a seamless backdrop where there's not, you know, a floor and a wall. It's the whole thing goes. So that's a cool new thing that I'll be able to do that I haven't been able to do before. And while we're talking about this from over here, my main camera angle is usually something kind of like this. In the past, if I tried to set up a perfectly symmetrical shot where you see a little bit of each side wall and then that with the desk in the middle, the desk, since it didn't come out as far, it kind of just ended here. So there was this weird angle and this weird empty spot. So now if I want to, I can do a perfectly symmetrical shot with the camera being centered in the room and the desk taking up the whole bottom of the frame, which is just something that looks a little better for a dead-on shot. Not that I would use it all the time, but it's something I've never been able to do in the 5 years I've been making videos in here. So that's just really fun. I also finally mounted some more of my Pavo tubes to the wall, both to add as decoration, but also to keep them more organized and out of the way when I'm not using them. They come with these little plastic clips that are really made to be like mounted on tripods and stuff, but they do have holes in them. And so if you peel up this padding, you can just drill them into the wall, into either a stud or using an anchor. And I also realized to avoid blinding myself, I can just put the back of the light facing out. So that way it kind of reflects off the wall. It looks cool. So I put another one over there kind of doing the same thing. I even redid this cabinet a little bit. So all of my older cameras that no longer fit out can go in here. And then I would feel terrible removing the original Rodecaster. So now it's here. I think Heather and I have a project we're going to work on where we will need this, and I use it sometimes for other videos, but in the meantime, it can at least be in the background of other videos, and it can be on and the lights can be there shining, and it's really cool. I also finally think I found a spot where I like the play button. I had to shuffle some things around, and now it's here. One of the things for me about working in here is that I do spend a lot of time in here when cameras aren't on and I'm not making videos, so it's not just like a pretty background, but I use everything. And that was something that's really important to me in my like filming space for YouTube, is that it's a space that actually gets used. It's not just for decoration. So there has to be this element of functionality for audio and video production, but also an element of functionality for me just being in here the rest of the time. And one thing that's been driving me crazy lately, despite how much I love all of my wonderful lights, is it is very bright in here. And while it doesn't hurt, none of the lights are pointing in my eyes. They're all reflected away, so it's very comfortable. It's just not like the most relaxing environment to spend a ton of time in if you're doing something else. So I've changed that as well. I did the super gentrified hipster thing of just putting up market lights, and I really love them. And then I've also, sorry for that motion sickness, put up this lantern light here, so when I don't want to do production work that requires all of these lights, I can turn all of them off, and then the environment goes from this to this, which looks significantly worse on camera. But I do have this super cool little 60-watt NAND light that's set to a warm color temperature, bouncing off the wall, then the warm market lights, and then this to add a little bit of more daytime fill. So then in situations when I'm in here but not working on video stuff, it actually feels, it looks bad right now, but in person it feels so much better. So I don't know if I've been super effective at communicating this through this kind of chaotic little video, but the point is it's much more practical both when I'm actually working on stuff where I need to have lights, camera, and action happening, and when I'm not doing that, but I'm just in here either working on something or just having fun, like playing an instrument or something like that. And if you're wondering where the drums went, by the way, they're just in a different room. I injured my foot at the beginning of this year, so I couldn't play for a while, and they were just taking up so much space. So I moved them out. I really liked having the space, so I've kept them over there. And in that time, I've gotten much more interested in the bass too, so I've been spending more time on that. My foot's pretty much healed up at this point, but I'm still taking it pretty easy on the drums because it really sucks to have injured feet. It's not fun at all. So I wanted to defeat that injury, and I totally had faith in myself that I could do it. So it's a never-ending quest and a never-ending evolution, but I'm really excited for how things are, and I thought it'd be worth doing an update since we just kind of talked about this, you know, a couple of days ago, at least at the time that I'm posting this video, because there's always room for improvement in your room setup.